Battles are part of life. Each of us faces challenges that seem insurmountable, moments when strength feels scarce and hope distant. It is in this scenario that surrendering to God becomes a powerful act of faith. Placing our battles in His hands is not just a gesture. It is a declaration of trust in His sovereignty and love for us. The Bible is filled with examples of people who faced intense struggles and, by turning to God, found the strength needed to move forward. An emblematic case is that of David. In Psalm 55, he cries out to God amidst anguish and betrayal, expressing his vulnerability. David acknowledges his internal battle but does not dwell on the pain. He surrenders his struggles to the Lord, trusting that God would hear him and protect him. This surrender not only alleviates the weight he carried, but also opens space for the peace that comes from trusting in God. When we talk about prayer, it is essential to understand that it is not just about words thrown to the wind. Prayer is a channel of communication, an intimate moment where we can express our concerns and insecurities. In Philippians 4:6-7, we are instructed not to be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, to present our requests to God. And the promise is clear: the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard our hearts and minds. This is the assurance that comes from knowing our battles are in the hands of someone greater than us. It is easy to get lost in the anxiety of daily life, in the pressure of responsibilities, and the uncertainties that arise. Modern life often pushes us to think we must be in control of everything, but this illusion can be exhausting and distressing. Surrendering to God is an invitation to let go of that burden, to rest in Him. When we surrender our battles, we are not becoming passive. On the contrary, we are taking a courageous stance, recognizing that alone we cannot win everything. A current example can be seen in stories of people facing serious illnesses. Often, the struggle is not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. When they surrender to God, many report a transformation. The feeling of despair gives way to an inexplicable strength. It is not that circumstances change immediately, but the way we face those circumstances alters. Trusting in God brings a new perspective, allowing us to see beyond pain and struggle. Divine protection is another promise that should not be overlooked. When we turn to God, we find refuge. In Psalm 91, we find words that speak of God's protection. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This image is powerful. Placing our battles in His hands is like entering a safe refuge, where we are no longer defined by our struggles, but by His presence in our lives. Morning prayer is a practice that can change the course of the day. When we start the day by surrendering our battles to God, we are setting a tone of trust and protection. With each dawn, we have the opportunity to connect with the Lord, to declare that regardless of what comes, we are placing everything in His hands. This practice not only strengthens us, but reminds us that we are not alone. It is important to remember that surrender is not an act of weakness, but of strength. Recognizing that we need help is a powerful step. Often our culture values independence, but true wisdom lies in knowing when to lean on God. He does not expect us to be perfect. He desires us to be sincere. The battles we face do not define us, but the way we react to them, surrendering them to God, transforms us. Reflecting on the surrender of battles is an invitation to open our hearts. Each of us has our unique struggles, but the answer remains the same. God is ready to receive those burdens. Prayer is the means by which we can express that surrender. In praying, we are not just asking for help, We are acknowledging that God is the God of battles and that He is capable of doing much more than we can imagine. And so, upon waking, allow yourself to surrender your struggles to God. Seek strength in prayer, trust in His protection. After all, there is no battle so great that God cannot win for you. Surrendering our battles to God is not just an act of faith, but a pathway to true strength. When you rise in the morning, the worries of the previous day may weigh on your shoulders. It is at this moment that prayer becomes a powerful tool. Imagine starting the day by voicing your anxieties and surrendering each one to the Lord. This practice is not just a temporary relief, it is a continuous commitment to trust in His providence. God does not ask us to carry the burden alone. He desires us to place our concerns in His hands. Think of the small battles of daily life, the pressure at work, the relationships that need attention, the health that sometimes betrays us. Each of these struggles can be an opportunity to connect more deeply with God. When you pray, you are not just seeking strength, but opening yourself to the divine protection that transcends difficult situations. In moments of uncertainty, trust becomes an essential pillar. It is natural to feel anxious in the face of the unknown, but when you surrender your battles to God, anxiety begins to dissipate. This surrender does not mean you are shirking responsibility. On the contrary, you are acting wisely by recognizing that the strength needed comes from Him. Imagine a situation that seems impossible to face. By starting your morning with a prayer, you are not only asking for help, but also allowing yourself to rest in the certainty that God is in control. This inner peace is a gift that manifests when you choose to trust. Security in God brings a tranquility that few can understand. Even in the most tumultuous moments when storms seem to approach, knowing that He is present makes all the difference. It is like having a firm anchor in the midst of a raging sea. When you engage in prayer, you reaffirm your faith and strengthen that anchor. In praying, remember that it is not just about asking for protection, but recognizing that you are already surrounded by it. Consider the emotional battles we often face. Insecurity, fear of failure, and comparison with others can be devastating. Upon waking, transform those thoughts into prayers. Lord, I am struggling with insecurity. Give me strength to overcome this. This simple act of surrender can create a space where divine protection flows, bringing clarity and courage to face the day. Sometimes battles are silent but no less impactful. Internal issues such as doubt and guilt can consume our energies. Morning prayer does not need to be long or elaborate. It can be a moment of honesty, where you talk to God about your internal struggles. This connection can open doors to new understanding and a renewal of strength. Vulnerability and opening up to the Creator allows His light to enter the darkest areas of your heart. Surrendering your battles to God also involves accepting that we will not always have the answers we seek. Life is full of uncertainties, and divine protection does not mean we will not face difficulties. It means that, even in adversity, we have an unshakable support. When you commit to praying in the morning, you prepare for whatever comes. This preparation is not a guarantee that everything will be easy, but it is the assurance that you will not be alone. Imagine a day when you feel that everything is going wrong. Instead of letting frustration take over, take a moment to pray. Open your heart and surrender your struggles to God. This simple practice can change your perspective. You may find that by placing your battles in His hands, the pressure begins to ease. The strength that comes from this surrender is unparalleled. It is the strength that allows you to move forward, even when challenges seem insurmountable. Prayer should not be seen merely as a request for help, but as an ongoing conversation. Throughout the day, remember that you can return to this practice whenever you feel the weight heavy. God is always willing to listen. When you recognize your vulnerability, you align yourself with a greater power that envelops you. This connection brings a sense of belonging and protection that is invaluable. The inner peace that comes from this surrender is a testament to God's presence in our lives. It is not about ignoring struggles, but approaching them with a new perspective. By starting your day with prayer, you open the doors to the strength and protection that only He can provide. Life can be challenging, but the certainty that your battles are safe in His hands transforms each morning into a new opportunity for renewal. When you rise, remember that every battle you place in God's hands is not just a lost fight, but a chance for victory through faith. The strength you seek is not just physical, it is spiritual. The protection you desire is not just for the body, but for the soul. When you pray, you are not just asking. You are connecting to a source of power that can transform not only your circumstances, but also your heart. Surrender your battles to the Lord with confidence. Let prayer be your ally in the mornings. Allow the strength and protection that come from Him to be your daily armor. Do not underestimate the power of starting the day by giving everything to God. Transformation begins now. Waking up and already feeling the weight of daily battles can be overwhelming. The routine feels like a battlefield, doesn't it? The demands of work, the responsibilities of home, the worries about family, or even personal challenges can make us feel on the brink of collapse. But here's the key: surrender to God. This surrender is not just a symbolic act. It is a real commitment that can change everything. By starting the day in prayer, you open a channel of communication with the Creator, acknowledging that no matter how much you struggle, true strength comes from Him. Imagine the scene. You wake up, your mind full of restless thoughts and worries. Instead of letting anxiety take over, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and begin to pray. Talk to God about your struggles. Mention every battle you are facing. Do not hide anything. He already knows your heart. By verbalizing your concerns, you begin to release the weight you have been carrying. It is as if you are putting your armor aside, allowing Him to take care of your struggles. Trusting in God is an act of courage. It means recognizing that even when life is full of uncertainties, you are not alone. When you surrender your battles to Him, you are not just asking for help. You are allowing Him to act with power in your life. This does not mean that problems will magically disappear, but the way you deal with them changes. You begin to see difficulties with new eyes, knowing that you have a protector by your side. Think of the small moments of the day. When the pressure at work increases, when an unforeseen event arises, or when insecurity strikes, look within and remember your morning prayer. This practice strengthens you. The strength you seek is not a personal strength, but a strength that comes from above. You become a channel of the peace that God offers. And this peace is not just a fleeting feeling. It transforms into security, even amid chaos. Security comes from knowing that regardless of the circumstances, you are under God's protection. It does not matter if the storm is strong or if the winds are howling. You have a shelter. This certainty brings a tranquility that cannot be found in places or things. When you live this surrender, inner peace becomes your guide. You learn to trust even without seeing the clear path ahead. This trust is a daily exercise. Sometimes you may doubt. Sometimes anxiety may try to return. But it is at this moment that prayer becomes even more vital. Practice morning prayer as a sacred ritual. Create a special space at home where you can connect with God. It could be a comfortable chair in a quiet corner, a table with a lit candle, or even an outdoor spot. Use this time to give thanks, ask for strength and protection. By doing this, you not only speak but also listen. Often God's answer comes in the form of clarity or a feeling of peace that fills your heart. And do not underestimate the power of sharing this practice. When you feel strengthened, your light shines and can illuminate the path for others. Talk about your experience with friends or family. Invite them to join you in prayer. This creates a support network where everyone can surrender their battles together, strengthening one another. The union of hearts in prayer is powerful and can transform lives. Remember, life does not need to be faced with a bowed head and a heavy heart. Surrendering to God is an act of faith that brings freedom. By surrendering your battles, you are allowing yourself to live lightly. And this lightness reflects in your actions, your decisions, and your relationships. It is a positive cycle. The more you trust, the stronger you feel. The more strength you find to face challenges. When you make prayer a priority, things begin to change. Not just your circumstances, but also your perspective. You become more resilient, more centered, and more capable of dealing with whatever comes your way. This surrender brings a new dimension to your life. You begin to see difficult situations as opportunities for growth. Each challenge becomes a chance to experience God's strength in your life. Now it is time to act. Find a moment, even today, to connect with God. Leave your battles in His hands. Do not let fear or uncertainty govern your heart. The strength and protection you seek are available. Just open your heart and allow Him to do the work. Surrender is the key. Place your battles in the powerful hands of God.